So, are you a short-term rental host who's maybe feeling a little crispy around the edges? Yeah, you're not alone. We spend so much time focusing on pricing, operations, and decor, but today we're diving into the psychology of hosting. This is the inner game. Think of this as the architectural blueprint for building a business that actually energizes you instead of completely draining you.
Here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the emotional weight we all carry as hosts. Then, we'll get into the practical skills you need to master your emotions. After that, we'll design some solid boundaries, build a stress-proof toolkit, and lock in a long-term mindset. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a concrete action plan you can start using today.
And the goal here is super clear. By the time we're done, you are going to have a practical, hands-on toolkit to handle all the emotional curveballs of hosting. This is how you build a business that you genuinely love, not one that just burns you out.
All right, first things first, let's get real about the emotional load of being a host. Because, it's not all just fluffy towels and glowing 5-star reviews, is it? A huge part of the job is managing people, their expectations, and sometimes just pure chaos.
You know that knot in your stomach when check-in time is approaching? Or that little spike of dread when you see a new message notification? If you've felt any of this, look at this list. This is all completely normal. These feelings are part of the gig. Our goal isn't to pretend they don't exist, but to learn how to manage them like a pro.
This right here, this is the shift we're aiming for. On the left, you've got the emotional host, who's reactive and gets totally drained by every little thing. But on the right, that's the professional host. They use systems. They respond calmly, consistently. This whole explainer is your roadmap to get from that left column over to the right.
Okay, let's talk about emotional intelligence, or EI for short. Honestly, this is a total game changer for hosts. And this isn't some fluffy, feel-good concept. In the world of hospitality, your emotional intelligence is your single biggest competitive advantage, period.
So what even is EI? Well, it really boils down to these 5 key skills. You've got self-awareness. That's just noticing when you're getting triggered. Then self-regulation. That's taking a breath before you fire off that angry message. Empathy is remembering your guest as a human too. Social skills are all about finding those win-win solutions. And motivation, that's what keeps you in the game when things get tough.
All right, now for one of my absolute favorite topics, boundaries. And let me be crystal clear about this. Having good boundaries is not bad hospitality. In fact, good boundaries are the essential foundation that makes great hospitality sustainable for the long haul. I want you to think of yourself as an architect. Your boundaries are the literal blueprint for a business that won't collapse on you. This matrix shows the 4 key areas you need to design for: your time, your communication, your emotional space, and your social life. You need a plan for each one.
Let's take time, for example. Here is a simple blueprint. You do not have to be on call 24/7. You just need a system. A solid morning review block, a quick check-in in the afternoon, and an evening buffer just for true emergencies. You combine that with some smart auto messages and maybe a VA, and boom, you've protected your personal life while your business runs like a well-oiled machine.
Okay, so we've talked about the right mindset and how to build your boundaries. Now let's get tactical. Let's open up the toolkit and look at some practical things you can use every single day to lower your stress levels.
First up, the 2-minute rule. This is so simple, but it is a game changer. If a task or a message takes 2 minutes or less to handle, just do it right now. Get it off your plate. If it's going to take longer, then schedule it properly in your system. This one habit prevents that mental clutter and keeps you from feeling so overwhelmed.
Sometimes you just need to create a little space. When a guest is upset, this simple script is your secret weapon. It does 2 things at once. It makes them feel heard and validated, but it also creates a psychological buffer for you. It buys you time and helps you stay calm so you can solve the problem, not just react to the emotion. And whenever a new problem lands in your lap, I want you to run it through this framework. You really only have 3 choices. You could fix it yourself, you can delegate it to someone else, or you can just let it go. Seriously, not every problem deserves your precious emotional energy. Learning to let go of the small stuff, that's a hosting superpower. All right, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the long-term mindset. These are the core principles that are going to keep you from wanting to just throw in the towel after one really bad guest or a tough month. This is about building a career, not just a side hustle.
I want you to remember this number, 72. It might just be one of the most important numbers for your mental health as a host. So why 72? Because it's the 72-hour rule. You get a scathing review. Your first instinct is to sell everything and move to a remote island, right? Just wait. Wait 72 hours. Let that intense emotion pass. This single rule will stop you from making catastrophic decisions based on frustration instead of logic.
And here's your new mantra. Write this down. For every single problem that comes up, ask yourself, what system can I build to prevent this from happening again? If a system, like a message template, a new checklist, or an automated process, can handle it, then your emotions don't have to. This is the real key to scaling your business without scaling your stress.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. We have the mindset, we've designed the boundaries, and we've got the tools. Now it's time to actually put that new blueprint into practice. Let's talk about your action plan.
Here are your assignments. Don't get overwhelmed, just start here. First, I want you to identify your top 2 emotional triggers and pick a pre-written script for them. Second, define your official host working hours and actually write them down somewhere. Third, pick just one stress management habit to implement this week, like the 2-minute rule. And finally, schedule just 5 minutes at the end of the week to reflect on your wins. That's it. You can totally do this.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. What is the one system you will build this week to protect your single most valuable asset, which is, of course, your energy? Because your time, your focus, and your well-being, they are the absolute foundation of this entire business. So what are you going to build?